What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, Bob Arum did a recent interview with Ring TV. Link in the description. Check out the article. Great write-up and interview with Bob Arum. And he talked about Pacquiao versus Jessie Vargas. Pacquiao won the fight, got a knockdown, and it's a mixed bag. Some people said he didn't look the same. He looked a step slower and things like that. But nonetheless, Pacquiao got the victory over the younger champion and is now the WBO champion. So congratulations to Manny Pacquiao. As far as the numbers for the pay-per-view, I was wondering, usually they come in like the Monday after, and we had the UFC 205. This is what Bob Arum told Ring TV. They're still coming in. It's harder to get without HBO, but about where the Bradley numbers are. Around the same, a little over 300,000. The numbers are what the numbers are. So that's what he said, and there was a phone interview with Ring TV. I want to give my thoughts. I told you guys, this is what I've been saying. Pacquiao, especially after the Mayweather loss, but even before that, but especially after that, he's not the same draw. You're not going to just be able to put him in there with anybody that the public doesn't want to see and expect good numbers. I remember before this fight, Bob Arum, he's saying, hey, we're not working with HBO. It's a top-ranked presentation, top-ranked pay-per-view, kind of taking the UFC model and doing everything in-house after HBO basically rejected their fight. And Bob Arum says that terminated their contract. And they chose that because this week is fight week for Kovalev Ward. I'll be out in Las Vegas for that, to cover that fight. But HBO put their money with the more meaningful, bigger fight. They knew. They said Pacquiao's a senator. He can only fight in November. We're not going to put it that close. We're not fighting that close to another card. You know what I'm saying? And they probably learned from when they did that with the Golovkin-Lemieux. They put Golovkin-Lemieux in October, late October, if I'm not mistaken, last year. And then the next month was Cotto-Canelo. So the Golovkin-Lemieux numbers did piss poor, and I think somebody lost their job or was forced to resign as a result of it. So they probably learned from that. They're going through budget cuts, so HBO's like, nah, we're focusing on Kovalev Ward, Road to Kovalev Ward, and my fight and all this. You know what I mean? Bob Arum, top rank, they did what they did. They stacked the card. The reason I say the numbers are abysmal, because you had some good fights on there. You had some names. You had their champion, Oscar Valdez, up-and-comer. He's getting a fan base. You got Nonito Donaire, champion. That was a championship fight against an undefeated Jessie Magdaleno. And you had another title fight with Pacquiao and Jessie Vargas. You know what I mean? And you also have Zhao Shiming on that card. So that's, for a top rank card, that's a pretty loaded. You know what I mean? They use pretty much all their stars, minus Terrence Crawford and Gilberto Ramirez. They use the, you know what I mean? That's like their go-to hitters for a pay-per-view. So to do all that, I don't know if it made them money on the back end or whatever, because not going through HBO, they don't have to pay certain things, licensing fees or probably promotional costs to HBO or whatever. They don't have to split it. It's all in-house. But I remember beforehand, Bob Arum says if the fight does like 600,000 pay-per-view buys or more, then Pacquiao's going to be sitting pretty. Pacquiao didn't get the guarantee that he got in the Bradley fight of 20 million. He only got like, I don't know, 4 or 10 million. I forgot which one it was. But so everything was scaled back. And then Bob Arum said if it does 600,000 pretty much independently through top rank pay-per-view, then Pacquiao's going to get a lot of money on the back end. But 300,000, that's half of what Bob Arum said beforehand would get Pacquiao a large back end paycheck. So it's what I've been saying. You can't just put Pacquiao in there. And I don't even think it just goes for Pacquiao. I think this is boxing fans in general. I told people that I didn't personally pay for the fight, right? I didn't. I mean, I'm gonna tell you straight up. But I don't know, some people assume that means stream. Some people assume that I went to a friend's house or a bar. Bottom line, I didn't pay for it. Like I told you, I wasn't paying for that personally. And it's just not the fight that was built up. Like, even, I don't know about now since Canelo knocked him out, but Amir Khan, something like that, maybe, again, I don't know post Canelo knockout, but before that, that was a fight in talks and didn't happen. Adrian Broner, man, you know, AB, Aaron Bob, that would have been a bigger fight. Danny Garcia, I mean, you can look at it like, peep this. Danny Garcia fought a cherry, or whatever fans want to call a tune-up fight, before Keith Thurman, right? Keith Thurman hops in the ring, and what are people talking about? They completely forget about the tune-up fight, and they just talk about, you know what I mean? People are buzzing about what happened after the Thurman situation, right? So if those two can generate that type of interest with themselves, and neither one of them have been on pay-per-view, what happens if Keith Thurman got in the ring versus Pacquiao and said that? Or Danny Garcia was like, hey, Philly, you want me to fuck Pacquiao up? Make some noise. You know what I'm saying? Or he was like, you want to see me fuck this guy? Or whatever he said to Keith Thurman. Imagine if Danny Garcia or Angel Garcia was doing all this and doing this antics towards Pacquiao. And he was like, I'm going to fuck you up, Pacquiao. I'm going to fuck you up. Man, people would be buzzing. So again, the boxing public, I think they're speaking out. They're speaking out and letting you know, like, you know what I mean? We're not just going to settle for anything. I don't think it just goes for Pacquiao, but obviously him losing the biggest fight of his career to Floyd Mayweather, that sets you back. So you have to generate interest. You know what I mean? After 5 years of long debate, we got to find out who was the better fighter. I don't care what Max Kellerman or whoever is talking about, saying Pacquiao's still this generation's best over Floyd, even though he lost and landed 71 punches. People got to see. You can try to force feed people, but the reason why some people go to like YouTube channels for boxing, for their boxing news, is because there's not really an agenda. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not forced to talk only about PBC fighters or HBO, but sometimes you get commentary from HBO or Showtime or whoever, and you know they have an obligation to try to make it look the best. So it gets watered down, especially people saying crazy stuff. But back to the issue. Pacquiao is not the same star. He doesn't have the same star power. He's still a star, but you got to put him in there with someone. I think fans are speaking loud and clear in his last two fights. I mean, if you think about it, Pacquiao was doing at least a million, or close to it, 800, 900,000, no matter who he was fighting before, like in the height of his career or whatever you want to call it. And now in his last two fights, you add those numbers up, and he hasn't even done a million between those two fights. So that just goes to show you, people felt you already beat Bradley twice. We didn't want to see that again. People felt that you had beat guys who presented more of a challenge than Jessie Vargas, even though he was a champion. You know what I mean? You beat Antonio Margarito, who most people would say hits harder at 152, 153, or whatever the catch weight was, than Jessie Vargas at 147. He was Jessie Vargas's height, if not taller. He was experienced. He had beat guys and stopped guys like Sergio Martinez. You know what I mean? Jessie Vargas, for the most part, he's a career 140 pounder who recently moved up and lost to a guy that you beat in a lot of people's eyes 2 times, and that was Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley schooled him for 11 rounds. So even though he was a new champion, he beat Saddam Ali. That was a good win for him, something to put on the hat. Most people felt that this wasn't the fight we wanted to see. Crawford's different. That's a stylistic great match. Crawford, I was at his last fight with Victor Postal. He dogged him out. Victor Postal was the number 2 guy in the division and a champion. And Freddie Roach post-fight, he said it himself. Yeah, my guy Postal, he just couldn't get off because Crawford's speed is just too fucking much. You know what I mean? And that's a good fight. So I really feel like, especially since Top Rank is working with Arum, or Arum's working with Heyman, with the John Molina Terrence Crawford fight, they're gonna have to make better fights for their cash cow. Like, people aren't really just gonna ride. Same thing, like I said, boxing fans in general, but I don't think it doesn't matter who else, like what Golden Boy does when it comes to Arum. These aren't good numbers. 300,000 for a guy who was doing million. You know what I mean? People hated, absolutely hated the Andre Berto fight. Oh, Mayweather tainted his whole legacy. Oh my gosh. They hated, they despised the Berto fight from what I seen in the comment section. And guess what? It still did higher numbers than 300,000. You know what I'm saying? So it goes to show you the star power. Maybe it's because Mayweather was still undefeated and Berto was coming off a knockout win. You know what I mean? We know Berto has speed and power. Maybe Father Time can catch up with Floyd and Berto could do something. But a lot of people just didn't give Jessie Vargas a shot. But I guarantee you, if you put him in there with Crawford, Danny Garcia, Broner, even though I think out of all the fights, I think Broner stylistically would probably be the easiest fight. But Broner knows how to sell a fight, so people will still tune in. And you know what I mean? Maybe Broner can hurt Pacquiao. I don't know. I would favor Pacquiao though. But bottom line is, you put him in there with the capable, able body with some good attributes. It's like Conor McGregor said. I like what he said. He says, I'm too much for these guys. He's like, you can't just put me in there with Eddie Alvarez. I'm too much. I'm on a different level than them. You got to give them some attributes, some height, some reach, like a Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz, he's longer, taller, longer reach, tough as hell, and very durable, experienced, better on the mat, on the ground, grappling. You know what I mean? That's what Conor McGregor was saying. You got to put somebody in there that's some competition. They have to have some kind of attributes. You can't have no guy slower than me in hand speed, shorter than me, lesser chin. You know what I'm saying? He feels he's gonna beat them. So same thing with Pacquiao. You got the competition. There has to be some level of risk. Terrence Crawford, there is some level of risk, even if you pick Pacquiao to beat Crawford. Same thing with Danny Garcia and even Broner. But people didn't see that same risk, even though Jessie Vargas was a champion. And that's what you've seen in the comment section, and you've seen with the numbers. So I think ultimately boxing fans are they're tired of it. Canelo, Liam Smith, really? You fight Amir Khan, then you fight Liam Smith directly after? Is that really what the public wanted? Like Canelo versus Demetrius Andrade versus a Vanes Matarosin, the Charlo brothers. Even if you think Canelo can beat all those guys, there's certainly more of a formidable challenge based on what they've proven than a Liam Smith. And I think the same thing applies for Pacquiao fighting Bradley in the third fight and then fighting Jessie Vargas. We've seen you with the Bradley style twice. And most people, or a lot of people, thought you beat Bradley twice. Why we want to see it a third time? Jessie Vargas, we've seen you beat guys who were harder punchers and bigger than Jessie Vargas, or his size, but had more experience at the higher weights, or more punching power, or a hell of a chin like Margarito. And we seen what you did to his eye. You messed up his eye for life. Margarito looks like the Mexican Forrest Whitaker. Why did your wife get killed? What happened? What did you do? What happened? Why? You don't even understand the question. So let me know what you guys think. These aren't good numbers for me, but again, maybe because it's an independent top ranked thing, maybe they still made good money. I don't know about that, but just from the outside looking in, without knowing all the details and the finances, the eye test, 300,000 for Pacquiao-Vargas is a statement from fans. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.